Are we getting healthier or sicker? Is the cost of healthcare going down or up? We need to just look at that.
We are the creator of our own life.
Being overweight is not a disease. It doesn't cause any disease.
What do you think about GLP-1s?
There's a misconception that they assume that if you're a doctor, you understand prevention and nutrition. That's really not how modern medicine is taught.
If you look at the war on obesity, we've made a lot of money on that one. Why are we sick? Why are we depressed and anxious? Because our brain is damaged. Now, I'm not saying these things don't happen to people, but we've lost our way in thinking about natural healing.
Before we get into all of these amazing topics, because there's a lot, we got gut health, we got fertility, we got diet, we got your hot take on exercise, which is interesting. Tell us about your early life. Your dad was in jail, it says, and you grew up with gangs in LA.
Grew up in a gang.
Well, let's see. My elevator speech is, I was born and raised in Los Angeles, LA, kicked out of school in a gang, couldn't read, father in jail. Blessed family, lots of troubles. Their hardships sort of became my hardships. And I suffered from dyslexia and depression, anxiety, and bowel problems as a child. And my sister had diabetes since age 4, and I saw there were a lot of troubles that my mother and father had, and they went through bankruptcy, and we moved in with my grandmother at one point, and my grandmother's both sides took care of my brother and I, who were Irish twins. And my father wound up in jail for white-collar crime, but it saved him. He found Jesus, and he was once very involved in religion and Christ and things like that, but he lost it, and he found it again. And during their tough times before he wound up in jail, as an adolescent in the 7th and 8th grade, I got caught up with some tough people in LA. I was in 18th Street gang, and back then there weren't guns and knives that I hung out with. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that my parents were around, and I was on my way home from school one day and I got beat up. And then
Would you get beat up or just for?
It was kids. And on the way home from school in Los Angeles on Sunset Boulevard, and interesting enough, the person who beat me up eventually became my friend. But through that, it was a little bit. I couldn't read, and I wasn't good in school, and I liked to play sports, but I wasn't in any organized sports. And my parents were either not home, they were working, or something else. And my brother and I just hung out on the streets, and so we wound up. At one point vandalizing a school and got arrested. And I got kicked out of the school, had to go to another school, take a city bus. And that was a tough time for our family and just going through that. And that was a little bit more into my hanging out with the gangs and street stuff for a couple of years. And then eventually I was arrested by a LAPD officer who said, okay, your choice is clean it up or go to jail. And I was 14, 15 at the time, and it was time to clean it up, and I did.
I heard, and maybe this is completely wrong, that once you're in a gang, it's really hard to get out. How did you do that?
Well, you get beat up to get in, and you get beat up to get out.
What do you mean? How did they beat you up?
Well, they have about 5 or 8 guys beating you. You know, you're initiated to get in, you're initiated to get out. Now, I don't know what it is today at all, but way back in the early 70s, that's what it was like for me.
So once you got beat up, are you automatically out?
Well, that was out. And part of it had to do with, in my group, they realized that it was the wrong place for me and there was a better place. And so God gifted me that I found.
And what do you mean? You're like, hey, you're not gang material, or hey, we just think you could do better.
It was just time, and this is the way you get out. And some of those people were still sort of friendly, and in my group where I was, it was acceptable.
Were they as violent back then as you read about now, or no?
Not the people I hung out with.
Yeah,
it was street fighting, and I think of it in a way. My brother and I really loved to wrestle, and we'd wrestle all the time. We'd break things in the house, and it was always just, it was like we're warriors. And I think part of the issue is that we're not meant to be locked in a classroom. And for me, I didn't understand anything happening anyway. And I just wanted to run around and be a young kid, a boy, where I think naturally we want to do those things, but we're not given that opportunity. And so I think it was just an outreach for me to, one, have a group for protection in where I lived. And then secondly, we would fight war, but not hurt to a point. You know, this is how we worked at the time anyway. And I can't speak of what it was like today, but I think it's certainly a spot that people go to because they don't have anything else that they're seeing because of either family or the environment. And I was in a bad environment at the time, family-wise. But then my parents ultimately came together, and I was a hard worker. I was always willing to help at the home. And I had a job when I was 10 at a boat launching ramp in Newport Beach, where I would go every day. And the work ethic is something that helped me out a lot, realize that there's something different to do.
Yeah,
How did you make the transition from going to that into wellness and the gut and fertility?
Well, let's see. So I was really good in math, but I couldn't read. And in high school, my grandmother got me a job at a department store. I worked at Dodger Stadium. I realized service and work is something I liked. Plus, I like cars, and I rebuilt cars, and I needed money to do that. And so it brought me that, and I got inspired to do the work. Now, when I was in high school, I started ceramics, pottery, jewelry, and my Mrs. Wong, and I did mechanic shop and wood shop and all those things because I was really good with my hands. And then after I graduated high school in Los Angeles, I went to Los Angeles City College. It cost me like $1 a semester, and I went for 4 years. And I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time. And I was in mostly art classes, and I worked a lot. And I broke my leg at 19, and I met a doctor that inspired me, kind of a hippie doctor at the time. And I was like, wow, this guy's kind of interesting. What does he do? And I had a full-length cast on for 3 months. So I was in bed or a recliner for about a month, and I began to read because I was getting tired of television, and I never read before, really. And I started reading, and I went to the counselor's office and saw what it would be like what I needed to do to be a doctor. And I said, well, this isn't going to work, because it was mostly a lot of history and English and things that usually I wasn't good at understanding or memorizing, but math and science I was good at. And so I just put myself to focus on that. And I had tutors. I had tutors for English and history, and I was a tutor for math and science. And I was diligent and just kept at it. I went 4 years to LA City College because I didn't have the credits from high school to go to the degree that I wanted, which ultimately was biochemistry and nutritional biochemistry and oceanography at USC. And so, that's how I got into medicine. And even though I was a nutritional biochemistry major in undergrad, standard medical training was the really Mediterranean diet, plant and animal-based, and a mixed diet, and there wasn't really any direction. And plus, we're trained to diagnose a disease and to treat it with a drug or a dissection in general. And there was no really digging into what causes disease in standard medicine.
I think this is a very important conversation because we have a lot of people that have gone through medical school or have medical degrees, and more now this topic is coming up. I think a lot of people, there's a misconception that they assume that if you're a doctor, you understand prevention and nutrition and that you're taught about these things. And what we've discovered interviewing people like yourself is that that's really not how modern medicine is taught from a degree perspective.
No, and a lot of it has to do with Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, the Flexner Report, and the control of science and medicine in by the government over 100 years ago. And so closed many medical schools for women and minorities and focused on, this is the way it's going to be. And so we really went into medicine. I went into medicine because what the doctors did looked like the right thing to help people. And plus my sister, Marianne, who had terrible diabetes for years, I remember taking care of her a little bit and seeing kind of what the hardship was. And I thought, well, this is an area that I'm interested in. But yeah, we're learning allopathic medicine is learning the way, how to diagnose, get anatomy, and we get physiology, but there's no real drive to understand the cause of disease. And over the years of practice, I just practiced standard medicine for many years. I was OB-GYN. I did internal medicine first and then OB-GYN. And then I wound up doing a fertility fellowship in the early 90s in Los Angeles, the time of the riots. And I didn't love what I was doing and just doing fertility. I wanted to get back to the basics of OB-GYN. I wound up leaving LA, moving to upstate New York in the mid 90s, a small town, completely away from where I grew up and lived in LA. And through my practice over the years, I realized that what we were doing wasn't working a lot.
Give me an example.
Well, as a fertility doctor and helping people to get pregnant, people that I thought should get pregnant weren't, and those that I thought shouldn't did.
Why?
Didn't know that answer. And that was part of the problem. And I went through some suffering and challenges through a separation and divorce a while back, and it drove me a little bit to depression. My daughter didn't want to talk to me or see me anymore. She was 13 at the time. And I started looking into a little bit of therapy, meditation, Buddhism, prayer, mindfulness. Rhonda Byrne's book, The Secret, was coming out back then. And my friend was a Buddhist and started really digging into how to control the thoughts and things that are happening in life. So that actually got me to bringing meditation, prayer, yoga, acupuncture to my practice. I opened a wellness center. I did retreats and seminars on mindfulness. And that helped, because one of the problems with anything is that it's so emotionally hard. We want to just run away. We can't do it. And my thought was, well, if we can help people calm the mind, reduce epinephrine and cortisol, build serotonin and oxytocin, we can change the energy, reduce inflammation, hopefully, and help them get pregnant. That helped. And during that, some of my patients were getting pregnant on paleo diet. And I had never talked about diet. I had no idea what that was. Now, I personally suffered arthritis, migraines, kidney stones, bowel bleeding, depression, and I was at like 43 or 4 at the time. So, and then I dug into paleo diet. And I started it myself, which is a high-fat, hunter-gatherer diet. And
remind me, no carbs with it? Or
well, when we use the term, yes, they're really stay away from carbohydrates in the sense of pasta, pizza,
okay,
bread, and those sort of things.
Okay.
I like to think of things as plants or animals, and we could talk more about that. And people getting pregnant with that, but I dug into that, and then I found keto diet, which is really similar as Atkins and paleo diet, higher fat, lower carbs. And I went to that. I felt better, sharing with my patients, and it was helping them. And then I found Carnivore about 15 years ago, and a guy was ripped and didn't exercise. He looked great, didn't exercise, and he ate only meat. And that's what I said, that's for me. And I did it, and I'm like, whoa. In like a month, my stuff was better, but now it was gone. My mindset was brighter. My energy was greater. I'm usually a kind of a hyper guy anyway. Since a kid, my mother used to put my brother and I on a leash. she'd be arrested today, but we were pretty uncorrigible at the time. And they were both amazing, my mother and father. So I was like, wow, now my job as a doctor is to help people heal. And I did a lot of surgeries, a lot of standard medicine, IUIs, inseminations to help people get pregnant, IVF to get pregnant. But we didn't have much else. We had some pills, shots, and surgeries. And I was finding that both the mindset and the nutrition were helping a lot of people.
What do you mean the mindset?
Well, our brain is often focusing on worry, what's wrong in the world.
My favorite topic.
We see it in the news and everything on our devices, our phones, and we're usually talking about what's wrong in the world. And that damages the brain. It damages the body. It causes a lot of inflammation. And so by learning methods that help us see the world in a brighter way, and you can use religions and spirituality. There's so many ancient philosophy that human beings have been talking about to change their lives by seeing it differently. And so a lot about power positive thinking. I love to go to Jesus Christ as a philosopher king, whether you're religious or not, it doesn't matter. But these ideas that have been shared by all the ancient religions, there's something good to change our mindset. And that practice every day, I've written books on daily intentions and inspirations. I'm working on a few other books, and like Christ Carnivore is my next book coming out, where I think no matter what we do, one of the problems in medicine is we find problems. And we don't understand the causes of your problems. And so you're either fat or you have high blood pressure or something, your numbers don't look right. And we white coat doctors aren't very good at coaching and cheerleading and positivity. And I like to focus on, I don't generally wear a white coat anyway. I usually wear my black t-shirt, my black pants. That's my usual outfit, and my cross standing right in front of me. And because we want to be forward in faith. Faith is seeing life in absolutely the way it's supposed to be. And imagining these are just pieces of the puzzle or the path to get you to the place you wish to be. And if we can actually see the thing we wish as if it is, it shows up.
That's exactly how I run my entire life, is I become it.
You must.
So anything I want in my life, I don't say I wish, I hope, I become I do it in my meditation. I become whatever it is.
Sometimes some of the criticism of this very show, which there's maybe like one or two in the history of the show.
Yeah, right.
Barely. Is that we talk about this pretty regularly. And what we say is there's an abundance of bad thought patterns or negative news or bad stories or reasons why you can't or reasons why you shouldn't or reasons why things aren't happening.
Or worry.
Like
you said.
And what we talk about a lot is exactly what you're saying, but what you articulated better, which is we know for a fact all of those things are not helping us, either those thought processes or patterns or focusing on what's going wrong or the negative. And so if you look at it from the perspective of we know it's not helping, then the only logical alternative is to start changing your mind and thinking in a way that potentially could. Because we know on one side it doesn't, but on the other side, if it could change and make things better, then why not train your brain to think that way or focus on the good things in life?
The faith part of it is the best part of it. And so many of us are trained in some religious philosophy. And I always ask people, do you believe in God? And it's interesting that somebody said, no, I don't, but I believe in a higher power. I remind them that's the label of God, because the highest power is within all of us. And there's a book by U.S. Anderson called The Three Magic Words, which changed my life. So as a scientist, I said, okay, God doesn't exist because all the terrible things happen in the world. And I so I lived like that, and my science and everything is great until I went through my fall, and I questioned God, and then I went on a quest to figure out, okay, why do all these people believe in God? What is it about? Until I read the 3 magic words, and the recognition is that I am God, because my eyes don't see, my ears don't hear, my nose doesn't smell. My mind creates the story. And so the recognition that I have control of the story, and I believe that Jesus Christ, his only thing he came to do was tell everyone God is in you. And so you don't need the temple, the mosque, the church. You don't need any money to get in. And Christ didn't carry a sword. He said, everyone's there already. And so when I finally realized, oh, wait a minute, God isn't there, here, he's in all of us, the world changes. And we're all suffering. And we can change what I see by simply saying, I love you. And I love you is sort of the most magical thing you could do. And so it's a practice that I participate in, my daily meditation and prayer, or in a moment where something is like hard or I'm feeling, because it's natural to feel pain and worry and regret and judgment and all those things, because that's instinctual. That's the ancient reptilian brain. But what modern humans have done is created a story that actually the world isn't out there. It's in here. We're in here.
So you're saying that we are the creator of our own life.
We are the creators, and God is in all of us, and God is everything. So I create you, and you create me. And the trick of life is to recognize that God created all of us. And interesting enough, this comes back to carnivore a little bit. Why are we sick? Why are we depressed and anxious and psychotic and depressed and schizophrenic and suicidal or criminal? Because our brain is damaged. Our brain is highly damaged due to what I believe is a plant-based diet, low-fat diet, which not only damages our gut and makes alcohol in our gut via fermentation from the microbes, the brain is damaged. And so we share all these ideas and stories, but it's quite difficult for us to see it because our brains are so damaged.
So are you saying that you think one of the reasons or two of the reasons that you have helped 40,000 women get pregnant is you mixed the carnivore diet with mindset?
Carnivore lifestyle.
Okay.
Because carnivore diet is a tough one. I like the idea that we're all lions.
Right. I get that. So you're like, it's not restrictive.
It's not restrictive. You don't have to eat only meat. And I personally think our biggest downfall is a low-fat diet and eating 3 to 6 meals a day. Lions don't eat all day, and they don't eat a low-fat diet. Now, well, why is fat important? You ever notice that butter never molds? Well, butter is anti-inflammatory when you eat it. Fat is anti-inflammatory when you eat it. And nobody eats fat. Fruit, fiber, vegetables, seeds, nuts, salad, chicken, fish, turkey, lean meat. No fat. So everything you're eating has to go to the liver and be converted to fat. But our livers are damaged secondary to a low-fat diet and eating 3 to 6 meals a day. These concepts are hard because we don't know why some people get sick and other people don't. It's a mystery. Now, I take care of sick people. So I always go to, what do you eat? The question is, what do you eat? And the answer is organic, clean, healthy, which doesn't tell me what you eat. But most of us are eating a low-fat diet. Even many carnivores eat a low-fat diet because they cut the fat off, or when they cook it, the fat melts away, which isn't the same.
I lost 60 pounds by eating a ton of fat.
which is like, whoa, right?
Butter all the time, tons of meat with the fat on it, bacon with the fat on it, all the fat.
It's completely opposite. So fat is important on the human body, like it's important on most animals. No other animal wants to be skinny. And if you're too skinny, you can't reproduce. But if you're obese, many women still reproduce. The problem isn't fat. It's the inflammation caused by the plants, which break down to sugars. Plus the plants, the original source of the birth control pill and the abortion pill.
Explain that.
Well, herbal medicine. Where did we get most medicines for thousands of years? And plus the yam out of Mexico was the source of the birth control pill.
I never knew that.
And is the birth control pill good for humans?
No.
Terrible for humans. It's one of the worst things we've ever done. But that's what I was trained to do. If you got irregular periods or bleeding or pain.
Or a pimple.
Or a pimple,
How
put you on
about
the
that?
pill.
I was put on the birth control pill.
Let's unpack this a little
for
bit.
a pimple.
Let's unpack this a little bit because inevitably people will have a perspective of, well, birth control enables them to have sex without, conceiving, and it enables them to, obviously live a life without child rearing when and it's on their timetable. And so when you say it's one of the worst things, I think people are just going to want you as a medical professional to unpack what you mean by that.
I'm not saying you can't have the right to use these things, and I use them sometimes, very rarely. But what animal grows up to wait for reproduction until later time? None. And is sex entertainment, or is it meant to be sensual and related to reproduction? I mean, obviously we have sex, and I'm not chastising the world out there for it, but when you're a teenager, what do you want to do? And it's both sides. That's our nature. We're trying to stop nature, unfortunately. And part of it is, having sex as entertainment does increase your risk of infections and fertility. And postponing childbearing into the late 30s and 40s isn't optimal, because no other animal basically starts having their time, their heat, their time for reproduction, and says, well, let's wait a few years.
So are you saying that you think people should try earlier?
Well, reproduction is meant to be when you're younger. Technically, a woman's most fertile in their teens and early 20s.
You're saying if we wound back time and we were just these primal animals that lived in the wild, we would never behave this way.
Well, we are primal,
Sure.
and
Yep.
we'd respond many ways this way in the past, but there wouldn't be, hey, we got to not get pregnant, because why? You're going to want to be a doctor or entertainer? I mean, these are things that we've developed in the modern world, and many of the modern things we're doing is destroying the number one thing that's the most important, which is building families. And the incidence of infertility is risen significantly. Male and female causes, by the way, and I think they're the same cause: bad sperm, bad eggs, bad embryos, bad environment, and a bad mindset. And so the dietary changes and the mindset changes. And I think we're beginning to see the mindset changes, people looking towards spirituality and making decisions that, hey, going out and drinking and smoking marijuana and just randomly having sex isn't in anyone's best interest.
What kind of pushback do you get when you say that getting pregnant has to do with mindset?
Well, let's see. It's changing your mindset. Politics, religion, or diet is really hard to do. And so people come to a standard doc for standard treatment, and we do a lot of it. I don't push anything. People come to me to get help to have a baby, and I ask all my questions, And then I give my advice and information. Now, I don't know what you want to do to have a baby, but my job is to give you all options. Okay, so changing your diet could help. I'm not telling you what to do, but you're paying me money, and wouldn't you want to get everything on the table so you can make your decision, not me? I'm not there to sell you IVF or IUI. I'm not a salesperson. My job is to give you information, and that's why I do my blogs and my TEDx talks and write my books and put them out there and do a ton of information for free. Because what's the most important thing in life? Our children, and then their children. And now with social media, the world has changed. We now have a platform to go out there and share this wisdom and empower every human being to be their own leader. Today, you could get all the information that I got from medical school training and residency, like just right at your home, on your phone. I had people that, well, Dr. Kiltz, did you know about this and this and this? And sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. I'm open to anything.
You know why I think this is so hard for some people when as it relates to fertility or weight management or any of this stuff is I think we've got to a place where we hope that we can go to a doctor and that you guys can prescribe us something that'll instantly change our condition, right? Like, I can't lose weight. Give me the thing that's going to, I think it's harder to go to someone and say, yeah, we have all those tools, but by the way, you changing your mind or you changing your diet or you getting some exercise will have a great impact. And I think sometimes that message is hard for people to stomach because it means that you have to change your life.
Well, I ask people, what's the most important thing for you in your life? And since I take care of people wanting to have a baby, they say having a baby. And that's, well, what would you do for that most important thing in life? And the answer almost always is anything. And so I'm just giving the anything you could do. And some people do it right away. Some people never do it. And quite often I see people that they tried, didn't work, and then they might have done keto or carnivore, and they had success. They did acupuncture, they did yoga, meditation, prayer. They had success. And that's one of the most powerful things.
What are the affirmations that you tell people to shift their mindset when they want to get pregnant?
I'm a mom. Mm-hmm. I'm a dad. I'm a parent. It's the simplest thing to do. I am.
I'm sure it's hard when you can't get pregnant because your brain is telling you, oh my God, I can't get pregnant. Oh my God, I can't get pregnant. Oh my God. I had this experience with weight loss with my first baby. I kept telling myself, oh my God, I can't lose weight. Oh my God, I can't lose weight. And guess what? The second that I told myself I am losing weight, it started to fall off.
Well, it's, number one, being overweight is not a disease. It doesn't cause any disease, which is kind of radical. Obesity is not a cause of disease. It's an instinctual process to get fat enough for migration, hibernation, gestation, or famine. We're built to get fat. We're just living in the wrong environment because food was never easy to have. You had to go hunt and gather. So we have overexposure. Some of it's bad. It's just overeating is the biggest problem. And so you have to get the mind there first. Mind first. So watch shows like yourself. You listen and learn from others that have been there. And basically you're learning. Even if you're learning a diet or an exercise or a pill or a shot, you're still learning something. Mind. Our job is to put the right stuff forward so your mindfulness changes early. And you see you have the power. Quite often we look at ourselves in the mirror and we don't think nice about ourselves. Well, when you don't think nice about it yourself and you fail, well, that's easy enough to go right back into things that just make you happy, which make you continue to fail. So if we can help each other recognize that you're beautiful and amazing already, and then you see the person you wish to be as if it is, it'll always be that or better. And the journey is not straight. It's
it is a practice too. Like for me, at least, it's not something I've changed my mindset many times, but to me, I have to keep coming back to it every day. So I have to keep going back to my positive affirmations. It's not something like that's natural. You almost have to put yourself in the practice.
Your heart's beating and you don't have to talk to it and tell it to beat. Your lungs are moving air in and out. You don't have to remind it. And it is a daily practice.
Yeah.
It's actually an infinite practice. See, every thought you think is a prayer to the universe.
Yep.
Every negative thought attracts, every positive thought attracts.
You are very Louise Hay.
I love Louise Hay.
I can tell.
Yeah. It took me a while to figure this out. It was sort of like this, it's just my thinking that's the problem.
This is why I was served your content on Instagram, because I found you on Instagram. Because all my starred content's Louise Hay. And that's why you must have popped up. I don't remember the video. It must have been something like this, though, because I sent it to the team and I was like, he has to come on the show.
Well, everything happens as it's meant to be. And God puts us in places at times in ways that we don't always understand. But if we just take a moment and sit back and go, okay, God, what do you have for me today? Well, this looks interesting and amazing. And we're open to it.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform designed to help you stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or scaling your business, Squarespace gives you everything you need to claim your domain, showcase your offerings with a professional website, grow your brand, and get paid all in one place. Lauren and I are extremely adamant about owning your own personal footprint when it comes to online businesses, online brands, online hobbies. And this is why it's so important to partner with a platform like Squarespace. For years, we've been screaming from the rooftop that you cannot rely on third-party social platforms alone. It's great to be able to distribute and create content, but you actually don't own this content. You don't own the platform, and you're at the mercy of algorithm changes and platform updates. With your own website that Squarespace can help you build, you own your own footprint, whether that's building a blog, whether it's building a newsletter, if you want to build an e-com store, a hobby, a side hustle, or your main thing, Squarespace can help you do it all in one place and all on your own terms. Lauren and I's business is set up in a way where we own our e-com stores, we own our RSS feed, and we, of course, own our own websites. We then use these third-party distribution platforms like social platforms to get the word out in even greater capacity, but we always control our own content and our own businesses. And like I said, Squarespace can help you do that as well. So whether you've been thinking about building a side hustle, building your own online platform, accepting payments, building a newsletter, Squarespace can help set it all up, all cost effectively and efficiently. So check it out. Head to squarespace.com/skinny for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, use offer code SKINNY to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Again, that's squarespace.com, promo code SKINNY. Let's take a quick break to talk about Paleo Valley. Lauren and I love this brand so much. We've been talking about it for years. We've been taking their products for many years, and we can't get enough. I think they have one of the best bone broth proteins on the market, if not the best. We swear by it. We give it to our kids. We take it daily. And here's the thing. We love priding ourselves on eating clean, healthy products and making sure that we're not compromising any of our health by taking products with bad ingredients. With Paleo Valley, we know we never have to worry about that. And that's because we've had the founder, Dr. Autumn Smith, on this podcast, even just recently, to talk all about the things they're doing. We love their beef sticks. It's one of the only fermented beef sticks with clean ingredients, no citric acid, and no harsh chemicals. They also have an organ complex that is so important for people that may suffer from getting all the essential nutrients that organ meat can provide. They have this organ complex that we take in order to get the right iron supplementation, the right vitamin A. It's such a game changer when it comes to enhancing your personal health and well-being. We have their meat sticks all over the office, whether it's the venison or the beef or the chicken, and we have their protein stacked at the house. In the office, we give it to our kids. We take it ourselves. So if you're looking for a clean protein, if you're looking for a healthy snack, if you're looking for proper supplementation without compromised ingredients, Paleo Valley has you covered. All you have to do is head to paleovalley.com/skinny or use code SKINNY at checkout for 20% off your first purchase. That's paleovalley.com/skinny or use code SKINNY at checkout. And for sure, look out for the episode we just did with Autumn Smith, all about the incredible things they're building over there and the many benefits that you can exhibit personally from taking Paleo Valley products. Guys, I'm so excited to share with you more about this supplement that we discovered years ago, interviewing Dr. Stephanie Van Watson on this podcast twice now. So here's the thing. C15 is one of the first emerging essential fatty acids to be discovered in more than 90 years. It's an incredible scientific breakthrough to support long-term health and wellness, and you guessed it, healthy aging. Fatty 15's co-founder, Dr. Stephanie Van Watson, who I mentioned earlier, discovered the benefits of C15 while working with the U.S. Navy to continually improve the health and welfare of older dolphins. We covered this in the first episode we did with her, but it's fascinating stuff. If you think about how healthy dolphins look, you want to look that way as well. We now know that C15 strengthens our cells and is a foundational healthy aging nutrient, which helps to slow aging at the cellular level. In fact, when our cells don't have enough C15, they can become fragile and age faster. And of course, when our cells age, our bodies age too, which nobody wants. But they also discovered as many as 1 in 3 people worldwide have low C15 levels and cellular fragility syndrome. Thankfully, Fatty 15 repairs age-related damage to cells, protects them from breakdown, and activates pathways in the body to help regulate our sleep, cognitive health, and metabolism. I personally noticed since taking it for over a year now that I feel less inflammation, I feel great energy, I'm aging in reverse like Benjamin Button, and overall just feel great. Fatty 15 also has 3 times more cellular benefits than EPA and omega-3s, and by replenishing our cells with the crucial C15 nutrient, Fatty 15 effectively repairs cells, reverses aging at the cellular level, and restores our long-term health and wellness. So check it out. Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels to help support your long-term health and wellness, especially as you age. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/skinny and using code skinny at checkout.
Did you guys know that the liver is key in making processes like energy production, digestion, fat metabolism, and vitamin storage happen every single day? And when it's overworked, you obviously feel it. So enter Dose. Dose for your liver is clinically backed, and it's a liver health supplement. Dose is a highly absorbable liquid supplement, and it's taken in a daily 2-ounce shot, and it tastes just like fresh orange juice. It's so good. And basically what it does is it promotes liver function and cleanses the liver of unwanted stressors that may be slowing it down. I really like this brand specifically because there's 0 sugar, there's 0 junk, and there's 0 calories. What I think is so cool about Dose in particular is that people who take Dose consistently report less sluggishness, less midday crashes, better digestion, and even less bloating. Your liver is your body's daily filter. It processes everything you consume and performs 500 plus daily functions. Anyway, if you're looking for something that's not a capsule, it's not a powder, it's just a delicious 2-ounce daily shot, like I said, tastes like fresh orange juice to support your liver, check them out. New customers can save 35% off your first month subscription by going to dailydose.co/skinny or entering skinny at checkout. That's DOSEDAILY.co.co/skinny for 35% off your first month subscription. Why do you think that people are constantly worrying and having a sabotaging mindset?
Because that's natural in our instinct.
Yeah.
Because as a hunter-gatherer, wherever we were, we had to think and be prepared for the worst case scenario.
I call it, Michael does it sometimes, I call it saber tooth.
Yeah, it's a saber tooth. That's absolutely it. It's so, but the philosophy of our ancients taught us the black wolf or the white wolf. Where do you put your mind to? And it changes your life by changing it. And we were ancient philosophers thousands of years ago. That's what made us different. And I think God changed our lives when we recognize there's something out there. But I think what we didn't realize, we created it. It's in us.
What's your practice that you do to shift your mindset in the morning?
Oh, I usually get up between 3 and 4.
Ooh.
Whoa. Today I got up at 1:30. It was a little crazy. And I sometimes
What time do you go to bed?
Usually 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And I take 1 to 3 naps. I'm a napper. I mean, lions nap. Dogs and cats nap.
I'd love a nap.
Practice in a nap. But you have young children, which makes it a little harder for moms. But I think it's one of the most powerful things we do. And when I nap, 10 minutes, I love you, thank you. I love you, thank you. I go through my gratitude list of the people in my life, even the hard people.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for the people in my gang, in my father going to jail, in my grandparents dying when I didn't know them in suicide. There's a gratitude to all of us because we're all on an amazing journey. This is like such an amazing journey, and we're all going to die. Let's make ourselves the best food and fertilizer for the next life. And let's see the next life in the energetic way that we want it to be.
If you start to worry about something and you start to spiral and you can't get off the worry and you're ruminating on the worry, how do you walk yourself back?
I love you, thank you.
You just constantly say your intention.
It's my go-to. I love you, thank you. I love you, thank you. And I wake up in the morning, I do my gratitude prayer, I make my bed, I do 100 push-ups.
Oh, nice.
And
I can tell you look like you got some some strength under that blazer.
I'm not bad for almost 70.
No.
I'm finishing my 70th year in March. And I've learned so much in the struggles, the pain, the sorrow, the breakup, the friends who died of cancer, which inspire me every day to be on this quest. Like I feel like a kid in a candy shop that I figured something out. And all I want to do is share it with the world.
Do you think a lot of dis-ease comes from dis-ease?
It's natural to feel uncomfortable. And I think when we focus on it's okay, it's natural. And I think the power and belief in God is like the most amazing thing. It's a mythologic story that has such greatness to all of us in this world. And when I practice that, I have pain, I have regret and judgment. I get depressed sometimes, relationship problems, work problems, life problems. But when you can imagine, because I look at the world, the great mountains and the rivers and the Grand Canyon, let's just say it was once flat and smooth. And then something happened, earthquakes, tornadoes, fires, and all sorts of things happened that changed it to create the beauty, darken the light, the rough and the soft. That's what life is really about. And so when you finally go through the hardships and you find that, okay, I'm still alive, but I found something that fed me, much more so than food. And I'm on my 3-day fast. I may go to fast through tomorrow right now. I did a 15-day fast 3 months ago.
Damn.
And I do 5 days quarterly, 3 days a month, and I do 1 meal a day. Is it easy? It's not. Until you think forward. My next meal is Friday. Do a 5-day fast. That's easy. Fasting is easy. I love it.
What does the fasting do for you from a mindset perspective and then medically?
Well, so our problem is 3 meals a day. Our gut is full from the day we're born to the day we die, which means the food in your gut is always digesting and always sending sugars and amino acids to the liver. That means sugar's always circulating in your bloodstream. Insulin's always elevated, big cause of disease. And plus the microbes are always fed and happy. And then everyone's got bloating and they've got upper and lower respiratory problems. They get bowel bleeding. Endometriosis and pelvic problems is a bowel problem. Infertility. Every disease, in my opinion, is a bowel problem. So by emptying the bowels, truly emptying them, which I think takes 3 days of fasting, now autophagy sets in. That means your body heals itself. The microbes are suppressed. The plant antigens and chemicals and the plant sugars, which are highly allergenic to us.
Historically, from an evolution perspective, it must have been much more common for us to fast for that period of time because of the hunting and gathering.
Well, that's natural to us.
Meaning like it was our ancestors likely were forced to do that because of lack of food sources.
I wouldn't use the word forced. It was natural for them. Okay. The Mongols.
I love the Mongols. Love reading about the Mongols.
They ate horse meat, blood, and milk.
No. Yeah.
And they didn't carry a bunch of food and people to cook. They rode horses. And they fasted. They didn't eat. They never felt, oh, I'm hungry.
They didn't even stop to camp a lot of time. They just go and they nick a vein and drink the milk and the blood, and that's how they were able to conquer everybody.
And they ate fat. And so our problem is we don't eat fat. And so when we hunted and killed, you ate the fat, the blood, the organs. You used the parts of the animal for your shelter, your clothing, medicinally, and for weapons. And the best way to control a human, domesticate them, or convert a lion or a wolf to a dog or a cat is feed them plants. Bread and beer controlled the masses. We will do anything once our brain gets addicted to beer, alcohol, drugs, tobacco, even coffee. Highly addictive plant chemicals that control humanity. And so I think the pharaohs and the kings figured it out. They knew how to control the masses. Sugar was one of the first products of controlling. Explore the world to find places to grow the sugar, which was the most addictive substance, which basically, because of the exploration and exploitation of humans around the world, because of sugar and then tobacco and alcohol, which became large commodities.
Opium,
Poppy, which was controlled by the kings, who forced people around the world to use these things. It's industrialization. A lion and wolf fed plants becomes a dog and a cat. Warrior humans become slave soldiers, peasants, and prisoners. It's a simple truth. I drink coffee sometimes, and I'll drink a little alcohol sometimes, but I recognize that there's a little bit of an addiction. Now, I'm a good minimizer, eliminator. I went 2.5 years no coffee. I just started back up a couple of months ago. I'm off it again. I'm pretty good at that. Mindset is the master way to control the master, which is within all of us.
What do you think about GLP-1s if those help balance your insulin?
Well, the birth control helps balance your hormones.
Right.
And so I've got a drug for those in menopause, will balance your hormones and help prevent disease. So I'm always concerned that we're mostly selling a drug because it's too hard for you to lose weight. We've got a drug, a doctor dissection, and we'll help you out. Now, you're going to have to take this drug for life, which, if you look at the war on obesity, we've made a lot of money on that one. Just like the concept that menopause might be a manufactured modern medical creation to sell drugs and treatments. Now, I'm not saying these things don't happen to people, but we've lost our way in thinking about natural healing, about mindfulness, about grounding, about sunlight, about simplicity, about spring water. And maybe we don't have to fill our home up with a bunch of alcohol and processed food.
And synthetic fragrances and chemical cleaning supplies.
It's everywhere. It's on our clothes. We use these things. We can't get away from them completely. I don't worry about most of this stuff. But if someone has a problem, it's like, well, what can we do to help you?
So if someone's listening right now and they're struggling with infertility, you have helped, like I said, 40,000 women get pregnant. What would you tell them?
Never give up.
Okay.
And give it up to God within yourself.
Not a lot of doctors saying that.
We don't talk about God very much.
What kind of pushback do you get from the medical community, from your critics that are there, if there are any?
They all love me. And it's interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of things I do that my medical community doesn't believe in. my dietary approach, the mindset approach. And I do a lot of reproductive immunology, and there's a lot of pushback with that. And then there's a question, well, what age is a woman allowed to have a baby? And there's some discussion that maybe we shouldn't allow women over 55 to have a child, which is growing tremendously. And there's a lot of other things that go on. I'm not here to answer what anyone should do, but there's a lot of questions.
Do you ever use IVF in your practice?
I have one of the largest IVF centers in America, CNY Fertility, which is also the most affordable.
But this is where I'm confused. So when you've helped these people get pregnant, is it mindset and diet with IVF, or is it just IV? Like, is it a mix?
I don't know the numbers exactly. I'm not here to count numbers. It's a mix. And we see a lot of people for IVF because IVF is very expensive. I'm a quarter of the price of most everyone else. Plus we integrate a lot of different things. I practice medicine coming from the standard approach, but I've learned a lot in the non-standard approach, which I always want to help people hear and helping them get pregnant naturally, but depends on the amount of disease they've already suffered from. Some people have lost their tubes, or they have severe pelvic damage from scar tissue and infections. And so IVF might be the right thing for them, or that's not right for them, even if it would be.
You take a more holistic approach where you look at all of the different possibilities and try to weigh all of the different options, medical and, spiritual and mindset, and then inform your patients on what decision is right for them.
I only share ideas. I never tell them what to do or ever say, yeah, this is the best option. I give them the odds in a sense. A 50-year-old doing IVF, we haven't seen that happen. Now, a 44-year-old still might get pregnant, even naturally, with a lot of changes. And I so focus on the carnivore lifestyle. And for me, it's faith first. See what you wish for and be grateful for that already. Eat fat. When you eat fat, suppresses the microbes in the gut. When the microbes are high, they create alcohol, aldehydes, heat and gas. They're toxic. James Henry Salisbury steak.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of him?
Sure, yeah.
He's a doctor that graduated Albany Medical School in the 1850s. He went on to the Civil War. His men were dying of dysentery and pneumonia. He noticed their diet and he switched them to a meat diet, and they got better. He did science looking under a microscope and recognizing the microbes were flourishing in the diarrhea and in the lung. And he wrote a book, a very detailed book. And we have Salisbury steak today. We just don't know who the guy was. But it's science that fat and meat reduces inflammation in the gut. You never see meat in the toilet because it's the most readily absorbed in the upper gut.
Meaning so when you say that, like if somebody goes to the bathroom and they look at their feces,
they look at their stuff,
they will see sometimes vegetables or undigested plants that they've got that just basically pass through their body. But with meat, it never comes out that way.
It doesn't.
That's interesting.
And a friend of mine, Lee Kopis, Kent Carnivore, was very sick with IBS and eventually had his whole colon removed. Now, no doctor ever mentioned keto or carnivore. They said more plants. So when he has his colostomy, he can see what comes out in the bag on his standard diet. Plants were coming out whole in the so no colon, just coming out from the small intestine. See, it's in the large intestine that the microbes will take down the fiber in the plants. So you rarely see them in your poop. He went carnivore, nothing.
So if somebody comes to you and they say, I have a plant-based or a vegan diet and I'm suffering with gut issues or migraines or sleep or hormones, do you advise them to stop with that diet?
Well, I advise them at some things. I have people that say, well, I'm not going to change my vegetarian diet or a vegan diet. Well, vegetarians are easy. They can do eggs, butter, cream, and cheese. So now you have no plants in your diet. And if you did that for a month, it's quiche. Wow, you might get pregnant. But again, I only offer these things for vegetarians and for all of us, more fasting windows. That's how we evolve.
Okay.
More fasting windows.
And for vegans?
The same thing. So vegans, cook your plants well to simplify them. You want to kill the microbes because plants are highly contaminated with microbes. Salads and plants are recalled all day long. How often is ribeye steak recalled? They're not. And so I work with my Mediterraneans. Add more fat, cook the plants well, eat less frequently. But it's more fat, which is, again, that's keto and paleo. I'm not telling everyone to go carnivore. I do carnivore. Okay, sometimes I have some French fries or a cookie, cake, or ice cream. I love these things time to time. I drive cars, fly airplanes, and I live with a human being. Those are all dangerous. Mm-hmm. And so I'm willing to take the risk.
Did you guys know that over 90% of new parents on Bobby are combo feeding? So they're using both breast milk and formula to feed your baby. If you're just exclusively formula feeding, combo feeding, or you just want a backup can in the pantry, Bobby has you covered. This is a great formula if you're looking for complete nutrition to your baby's bottle. Bobby's organic, it's European style, and Bobby is clinically crafted to mirror breast milk. So what's really cool about this brand is that they have a naturally occurring MFGM in it, and they also have a DHA and a choline to support brain development. There's a 60-40 whey-to-casein protein blend for easy, healthy digestion. But the best part is that every single batch goes through 2,000 plus safety and quality checks before leaving their U.S. manufacturing facility. It was also named top choice by Consumer Reports after extensive testing for heavy metals and chemicals. So they test for all the things. It's USDA organic, EU organic, has a Clean Label Project Purity Award, and a Clean Label Project Certified Pesticide Free. So they really thought of everything. Bobby was named the top organic infant formula in 2025 by Parents Magazine. What to Expect and Baby List. It's trusted by parents and loved by over 700,000 babies. If you want to feed with confidence too, head to hibobby.com. That's hibobby.com to find the formula trusted by parents and loved by their babies. 700,000 and counting. All right, you guys know that feeling when something feels off with your body, but you finally bring it up at your annual and the doctor just seems so rushed. Maybe you're told everything's fine because the numbers say so, even though you know something isn't right. I've been there and it's honestly so frustrating. Traditional healthcare doesn't always leave room for context, follow-up, or real conversations. Life is busy. We all know this. And appointments are hard to schedule. And sometimes it feels like you're left to figure out things on your own. That is why I personally am so excited to partner with Hers. What they're doing is they're rethinking healthcare for women by offering care that's convenient, supportive, and actually built around your real needs. With Hers, you can get a clearer picture of your health through holistic lab testing, if prescribed, personalized treatment plans that go beyond medication with lifestyle guidance, and ongoing support for things like weight management, menopause, and more. And the best part, it's all completely online. Hers is about listening, supporting, and meeting women where they're at. It's not just healthcare, it's care designed for her. It's time that you get the support that actually reflects your needs. Start your free intake at forhers.com. That's FORHERS.com. forhers.com. All right, who wants to make a Lauren Bostic bowl of meat? All you have to do is you have to get the ingredients around your meat right. So first you want to get a delicious ancestral blend. Okay, I love to get a little bit of organ meat in there, heat it up, chop some onions, put a little garlic in there, and then add a delicious salad on top to make it like a meat salad bowl. Taylor Farms. They have sweet kale, Caesar, avocado ranch, Mediterranean crunch. My personal favorite is the avocado ranch. I put it on top. I add some real avocado, and then I slice some tomatoes and add some raw purple onion, little raw cheese, and I am good to go. I like Taylor Farms salad kits the best because there's no chopping, slicing, or leaving half a cabbage in your fridge. Everything is fresh greens. okay? It's yummy. There's dressings, there's toppings, there's everything. You just mix it up and you give yourself a round of applause. They have 28 chopped kits, 10 salad kits, 6 organic chopped kits, and 9 mini chopped kits. So there's really something for every appetite and every occasion. If you're looking to add some veg to whatever you're doing, this is a great way to do it. It's very efficient. I feel like a responsible adult when I pour some avocado ranch, Taylor Farms chopped salad onto my meat bowl. If I can do it, you can too. Grab a Taylor Farms chopped salad kit and get your salad together. I want to tell you about the charity that I am so passionate about, and it is called I Stand With My Pack. They are committed to getting dogs fostered and adopted. I have been a fan of this specific charity for about 5 years. When my daughter was born, I met a woman named Lucy, and she was helping me with Zaza, and she told me all about this incredible charity, I Stand With My Pack, where they helped animals find homes that were in really bad conditions. And I started following the Instagram account, fell in love with what they were doing, and then decided to partner with them to bring awareness to their cause. If you're looking to adopt or foster a dog, you have to check them out. It's I Stand With My Pack. They are accepting donations too if you can't adopt or foster. And all of the money goes to their mission, which is to help dogs with major medical needs that are often not seen by adopters or other rescuers. Check them out, istandwithmypack.org. What's wrong with the sperm?
Okay, so
Let's not just pick on the girls, let's pick on the boys.
okay, so it's 100% the woman's cause, and it's 100% the man's cause.
Ooh, that's interesting.
It's 100% both.
Huh.
So our ability to say, oh, it's 70% yours and 30% yours. How do we know that?
I feel like every marriage we should approach it. It's 100% my fault and it's 100% your fault.
Always.
Always.
You're going to say it's
obsessed with
100%
that.
your fault?
If you say it's 100% your fault, I will.
Wow. We
You're
have had
right,
a breakthrough.
honey. Yes, you're right.
Yes,
honey.
dear.
Yes, dear. Always.
I agree that it is 100% your fault and 100% my fault, but also 100% your fault.
I usually say yes, dear.
When he gets to 70, he'll say it too.
Yeah, well,
gonna have to-
I'm very imperfect on this too, by the way, Michael. We are all on a journey of learning, and we try to be perfect today, and we do our best today.
It just takes men longer.
It takes, men are dumb. Sorry. Well, we're simple.
Yeah, you're like golden retrievers.
If you flatter us and feed us
And itch your back.
and then make
Uh,
love to us, take the credit card, do whatever you want, dear. It's simple.
It's pretty simple.
We really are very simple.
Yep.
And this is where I think the carnivore lifestyle ideas come in. Again, I love you and I love you. The more we say, you're right, honey, I love you, just the word I love you and eye contact. And sometimes, the other thing they tell us in medicine, you can't touch people. And people say, Kiltz, I don't hug because they know I'm a hugger. I'm Italian. And so connection and positivity and faith in God is critical. So it's always a sperm problem. It's always an egg problem.
So how do you fix your sperm?
Well, the same way you fix your eggs.
Mindset and carnivore?
Faith, fat, fasting, fertility. It's simple. It's fat. It's fat forward, fat focused. Men don't want skinny. We want fat. Women are trying to be skinny and it's not working because we've given people the wrong information. If you simply focus on faith, fat, fasting, and fitness, and we're meant to be sensual. It's not meant to be slam bam. It takes time. And how do you heal it? Look at all these ideas. See, the plants in the gut ferment in the colon. The bugs for women go right out the rectum anus and right into the vagina.
Oh.
Vaginitis, cystitis, cervicitis, cervical cancer, endometriosis, endometritis, ectopic pregnancies, miscarriages, irregular periods. All these things are just secondary to our diet. It's a gastrointestinal problem. For men, the same problem. They have libido problems. They have testicular problems. They have testicular cancer's on the rise, and they're all secondary to those bugs that are not just sitting in the colon and go right in the toilet. They're moving. The microbes proliferate. Every time they proliferate, they grow. The mass grows. And so that's why the fat in fasting is important to suppress them. Stick of butter a day for men and women.
A stick of butter a day?
That's the
I
best.
eat a lot of butter.
I eat a lot of butter too, but a stick?
Well, half a stick to a stick. You define it. You know, I mean, ultimately, a lot of fat might make you fat.
What about this new, I see this on the rise a lot. Okay, so I'll preface this. My dad is 82 years old. I told you about him.
Young guy.
He's a pilot, young guy.
Yep.
Still weightlifts, still works, still sharp as a tack, runs around, still drives, fast cars and all sorts of things. His entire life, everyone told him his diet was terrible. It was mostly meat and potatoes, butter, eggs. Mine's all there. And what's interesting for me to see him now is this guy used to salt his watermelon and apple.
Yep.
And everyone, I remember being a kid and be like, man, people would say your diet's going to kill you. Now at 82, still sharp, strong, running around, working. Mine's all there.
Gary Bostic was right.
He was, and I see this. There was a lot of cholesterol discussion at the time, but now I'm seeing this news that cholesterol, you might want higher cholesterol, and it may be a good thing, and it may be preventative from Alzheimer's and dementia. And I wonder if you have a perspective on that, because I go back and forth with one of my business partners, and I say, like, listen, you should not be avoiding eggs and salt and butter and meat. And I think that's a novel idea for a lot of people right now.
The recommended diet is fruit, fiber, vegetables, seeds, nuts, salad, lean meat, no red meat, and 3 meals a day. Are we getting healthier or sicker? Is the cost of healthcare going down or up? Yep. And so we need to just look at that. My parents did a lot of meat and eggs. They lived to 94. My grandma lived 104. Despite drinking and smoking, she lived a long time. She's a very positive working woman. They worked. And cholesterol, let's see, low cholesterol and no hormone regularity, damage to your hormones, thyroid, big problem. The plants, by the way, attack the thyroid gland. They're called goitrogens. And we know they damage the thyroid gland, and they're all plant-based, but my bet is they damage every single cell of our body and cause all the diseases.
Oh, and by the way, one thing to add about my dad, that guy's never met a salad in his life that he's liked. I don't think I've ever seen him eat a salad besides maybe like once or twice in a restaurant.
Well, so it's interesting about fruit. So fruits, ripe fruit, simple sugars digest in the upper upper gastrointestinal tract, small intestine, and so they don't get down to ferment. And add salt. We don't use enough salt. Yep. Extra salt is excreted. Extra sugars are converted to fat in the liver via insulin and distributed everywhere.
So the salt leaves the body, but the sugar sits in the body and poisons us essentially.
Well, why do we like sugar? Because it gets us fat. Why do we love to make love to our partners? Because it gets babies. These are strictly nature saying, I know you don't want to eat that fruit today, but if you don't, you're going to be dead in a week. Because famine and starvation were very common. They're still common in this world for different reasons. But ultimately, we're working to get back to our ancient nature.
You have said that you're not a fan of exercise, but you're a fan of being in motion. What does that mean?
Well, animals don't exercise.
Mm-hmm.
They do what they naturally do. If they're running, it's either usually capture something or run away from something, but they're not exercising. And so the repetitive motion. Can I borrow your Ferrari and take it to the racetrack 3 times a week to get it worked out so it's going to last longer?
No, but if I had a Ferrari, you could borrow it.
Okay, good. Thank you. But ultimately, friction, heat, and damage to the body. The number of joint replacements and people that fall and hurt themselves is on the rise, but we tell you should exercise. And we've looked at people who exercise and they live longer. Well, are they living longer because of exercise, or you just pick some people that were older and they happen to be exercising? We sell a lot of stuff that's related to exercise too, by the way. And so I can only tell you that I used to do a ton of exercise and I hurt my knees, my hips, and I finally stopped. I do light walking. I do some hills, light weights on my back. I do about an hour of walking a day. I don't get it every single day, but I go to work every day. And I have a stand-up desk, and I'm always moving. And that's what we're here for.
You're not telling people to stop moving their body or stop lifting every day, you know, objects, or maybe challenge yourself with a couple push-ups here and there in the morning, right? You're not telling them to stay stagnant. You're just saying to not do exercises that potentially cause life-altering.
We have a comfort crisis.
Yeah.
And this couch is really nice, but I usually use it to take a nap. And otherwise, I'm up, standing up and doing work like that. I think it really is. We're telling people, oh, can't wait for retirement. Don't you want to work less? Oh, you shouldn't have to work so hard. But what in life is created through easy? Nothing. Hard is what we're born for. And so when you have that mindset, I love to watch movies and shows or read books that are about heroes and hardship and challenges. This is, Joseph Campbell's work, and there's so much great stuff out there that inspires us. I love Superman and Mighty Mouse and all these superheroes because they sort of put in our brains. That's why we need the images. We need the thing to hold on to, see, because our brain moves through vision. And we've been led to think you should just lay on the couch, sit and watch TV. I mean, you can listen to these podcasts while you're on your walk. And that's the beauty of so much. I do a ton of audiobooks. I move and I take a nap or I go to work. And so I think we need to encourage people that it's okay that you failed. I want you to get up. I failed the test. Okay, great. I failed. Oh, couldn't read. I'm still, when I take a test or I go through the security at the airport, I'm always a little nervous, right? And I'm like, okay, where's that coming from? I always get through anyway, and I pass the tests. But I realized that that's a normal feeling, and it's okay to fail. Wipe yourself off, get a mentor, a coach, listen to him and her podcast show, because these are inspiring things for people. And that's one thing that changed my life. I did audiobooks. And I always, if I'm in my pottery studio, my painting studio, or on a walk, or riding my bike, I'm listening to something inspiring. And that's what we all need to get to.
I love this conversation. Beautiful conversation. Thank you so much. Where can everyone find you?
drkiltz.com is a great place. Kiltz, I've got Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all the things out there. And
we'll link it all out. Thank you for making the trip out here. This was fun. I'm really glad we got to do this in person as well.
Well, I got to fly my airplane both ways, and it's always a blast to be 40,000 feet up, and really appreciate what you guys are doing, and it's very inspiring also.
Thank you. Come back on anytime.
Love to.